Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of those videos where I talk about updates on Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady1 and KitFox. I just streamed for 14 hours, it's 11 o'clock at night, and we're recording this, so if I stumble my words, sorry in advance. In this video we have kind of two parts to this update. There's a blog post from Bay12 and then some screenshots about adventure mode stuff from KitFox, which was sent out today. So let's read the blog post, which is from the 14th, and it is currently the 19th at the time of recording. Tarn writes, variously progressing along. Adventure mode is going well, and arena adventurers are back in, and I did some work to make conversations and regular announcements work nicely together. For those of you who don't know, that means that you can play as a character in arena mode and fight stuff. I had to go back and clean up an old technical problem. It briefly led to an error where my adventurer would autonomously argue with the hippo person from the trailer every single time I took a step. I guess my test adventurer has an irritating personality. Concurrently, Putnam has been improving the fort mode interface. There are more sorting filters now, and a job search and sorting and alphabetized professions. We're also working on some improved statues of Jacobs that should be in version 50.12. And in Adventureland, Carolyn has drawn some cool armor and clothing and portrait variations, while Neo Rice's Good prepares more animal people portraits. I have to get away from adventure mode at some point to work on archery issues at the bare minimum before 50.12 is ready to go, which is the next update. But there's a lot to do everywhere. Just going to keep plugging away at adventure menus, and the archery stuff will happen when it feels like a good day for bug fixin'. Both of the tracks need to move forward. And with that, we move on to today's post on Steam, and it says, so far we've managed the environment and ground menu, the climb and hold menu, and the jump action conversation menu, and the inventory menu, with combat actions and options up next. The adventure menus can be fully operated with the mouse or keyboard, or whichever mix works for you, which is why you still see the traditional roguelike letters next to each of them, which warms my heart. And you can also click in the play area to open a context menu for the tile, which gives all of the possible options, whether those are environmental options, movement options, conversation options, or the upcoming combat actions. As with Fortress mode, there are lots and lots of things that you can do. This should help you get a handle on the possibilities that you can also find down in the menus. Now, this next part of the post is kind of talking about the assume control option, which was referenced in that initial blog post. Like they say here, it's where you can play as an adventurer in arena, which currently is just like you plop two things down and they fight. But with the assume control option, it allows you, the player, to play one of the characters or a party of the characters. And the interesting thing about this is it's kind of like a combat scenario against creatures that you might spend hours trying to find in adventure mode to then only be obliterated into dust immediately and lose your character. So it's a good opportunity to practice, as well as they talk a little bit more about how Jacob has been working on these statues and how Carolyn has been adding features to portraits like clothing and quality variations, and they also showed some of those in the Steam post, which I'm showing on the screen right now, and there's also variations to the breastplates, as well as a walrus man portrait, which I showed already in the video. Lastly, they say see you all again in January for updates as the work continues. Tarn plus KitFox Games. Also, have some happy dogs from Bay12. These are Jojo, Uma, Sunbun, and Sam. They're adorable. Now, with all of the reading aside, the only natural thing left to do is talk about this screenshot of adventure mode. The first thing that jumps out at me is that all of the buttons in the UI are the same as the previous screenshots. Nothing has been adjusted. If you actually go back and you look at the older screenshots from Fortress mode, there's a lot of variation, especially even still on the Steam page, between the earlier screenshots and the later ones. The final UI ended up looking very different from even the last couple screenshots on the Steam page. So, why is this important? Well, it means that things are actually moving along at a really good pace. It means that things are shaping up nicely. Ideally, it means that they will hit their release date, because that's always, the big question with Dwarf Fortress is, will that release window slip? Well, they've said April, and the big one that Tarn was talking about in the interview was the combat menu. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done in there. As for this all looks pretty polished, at least as far as Dwarf Fortress terms go, and also in comparison to Fortress Mode's UI, let's just say 8 months out, to a year out even. This looks pretty complete from what we can see. Of course, it's just your inventory screen. You can see all of the various items. I'm assuming, you know, that's things like examine your item, maybe equip your item, unequip the item, put the item in your bag, remove the item from your bag, drop the item, obviously, try and eat the item, all of the normal things that you can do in adventure mode, with various little sorting tabs at the top, I assume. I'm not sure what else those would be. And then, of course, if you're a keyboard person, you can still hit your keyboard keys, and as you can see, things still look pretty similar to the old UI. You know, the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G for your different inventory items is still the same as it was before. As for all of the bottom UI elements, everything is still the same, and you can still see your line of sight around in the background. And of course, there's a nifty little statue of a goblin sitting there. If you squint around at the backdrop, you can see that these are all like wooden houses that are completely obscured by line of sight here, with our adventurer obviously standing in the middle. And of course, our adventurer has a lovely beard down there in the bottom left. And frankly, I love the added detail that's coming from these portraits. I've said this before, the thing that I'm the most excited about for Adventure Mode isn't actually the fact that Adventure Mode is coming back out. It's the fact that Tarn and Zach are gonna go get to work on new things for the game again. Because for many of you, Adventure Mode is new and exciting. But for a lot of us, it's a known quantity to a degree. And of course, this is gonna be a nice overhaul, but it's still the same game that I have been able to play as long as version 47 has been out. So I'm curious to see how all of you approach it, and if you're excited for it. And just remember, while it is a very large open sandbox, it is still very similar to Fortress Mode, in that there's no direction to speak of, a lot of loose connectivity between things, and a lot of options. But that also means that a lot of things are pretty shallow, but also at the same time, very wide and very dense and very mechanically deep. So, you know, go in with your expectations leveled and realize that this is still a video game that you can use an enemy's limb to kill another enemy, if you throw it hard enough or hit him in the right place. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you're having a lovely holiday season, or December, or Thursday, or whatever day of the week it is. I don't even know. I guess it's going to be Wednesday by the time this video goes up. But thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate everybody who's stuck around with me for the last, you know, literal year since Dwarf Fortress came out. And for those of you who've been here before, you're the genuine heroes, and the people who have been here since, thank you very much for sticking around for this ride for so long. You know, it's kind of crazy to know that Dwarf Fortress has been out on Steam now for a whole year, and you know, we're starting to wind up to adventure mode. It's getting exciting again. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to play adventure mode, and I hope that you all enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.